This is Aditi and welcome to my digital library. Well, I was reading my third book in the genre of classic literature and Russian philosophy, and this book is by Leo Tolstoy, The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and it was in 1 hour read. And I was reading it after completing my work at 3 a.m. at night. And mind you, the 1 hour while I was reading it, I was just questioning my life's philosophy that I wanted to follow. And this is not even an exaggeration. Trust me, this is not. Because when you will be reading this book, you'll just be questioning of how meaningful your life has been and how meaningful you want it to be. And how it is, I'll explain it to you. Okay. So the first chapter, we were introduced to three of Ivan's best friends who received the news of Ivan's death. And while we were expecting them to be, sad, have some gloomy attitude, it was completely the opposite. In the mind, one was thinking of how he could replace his brother-in-law in the position of Ivan in the office, and the second one was thinking in his mind that how he could be the replacement of Ivan. And ironically, they were talking about how sad it is Ivan left, how sad it is, and also how tiresome it is to complete the paperwork now. And this is the reality of human relationship. This was not the end. While they were at the funeral, they were just waiting for the funeral to end by so that they could go back and play evening cards as usual. You see, and when they saw his body lying in a coffin, they were just thankful that it was Ivan or not them who was dead. And that's not it. And now we will introduce the character of Ivan's wife, who we see as a lady, instead of mourning over her dead husband, is more bent on thinking of how she could get more pension from the government at Ivan's death. She knows how much she can get at Ivan's death, but she wants more and more of it. And this is just baffling. The audacity of human beings that instead of embracing the void that the people has left, you start off filling it with materialistic things. But in reality, this is how life it is. And this also made me question my life as well. Okay. So the next chapter follows, and we see Ivan's life. And honestly, I wanted a life like that because Ivan lived in affluence, in wealth. He earned, he showed off, he lived with noble people, and this is how his life it was. And to be very honest, who doesn't want a life like that? But that's where we were wrong because all his life Ivan lived under the scrutiny of society. He lived according to the society, he lived to show off, he wanted social acceptance, and in pursuit of that, he did not make any human genuine connection. And this was a mistake because even about the topic of marriage, he married just because she was a respectable lady, and that is why her conjugal bliss even did not last long. During the last phase of the book, we see Ivan is building a house just like how he has built his life because it's a symbolism. And we see that he is picking everything from furniture, curtains to brick by brick. He's building everything just to show off, just to get applauded in the society for his choices. And this is how he has lived his life to be applauded by the society people, to be accepted as a rich, wealthy, noble man. And you see, this cost his death because while he was hanging his curtains, he fell by, and this has what led to his death. Not certainly death, but the path of death. Okay. So now it is the last one. Ivan is suffering. Well, he is on his deathbed, and everyone is giving him false hope. His wife, doctors, and everyone, but he knows that he is suffering from something incurable. And this is where his mental agony comes in, which is more agonizing than his physical pain. Because he's frustrated by everyone, they are full of life, they're giving him false hope. Now that he reflects on the life he has spent, he sees it futile, meaningless, and he accepts it. And he thinks that if he accepts the truth of death, death will go back. But death is not that. Death just comes in, even if you accept it, and even if you do not. So during that last moments, we see that he makes a genuine human connection with his servant Jerasim, who treats him as an old man who is going to die, who gives him reality, who helps him, and he accepts the help. And this shows that he is somehow resilient to defy death, but also accepting it slowly and very negatively. And this leads to Ivan's death being very gruesome. We see parts of it, we see very much symbolism. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. But at the very end, when death comes in, he was thinking death as a punishment. But when death comes in, he sees it as a light. And that is the complete irony of this book, because he was afraid of death, but when he reflected on his life, it was just the childhood that he found meaningful, except that everything was just shackles and death freed it, and he saw death as a light. Now, my question after reading this book is that who would embrace the void that I have left behind? Will I see my death as a light which will free me from materialistic things, or will I see death as a punishment which shackles the good life out of me? So, this is a question. The two lines are very different. Is life a shackle or death a shackle? Please answer it, and that's it. Bye bye. Please do read this book.